Great North Woods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, Senator Angus King, along with other senators, are pushing for increased accountability for ICE agents. We'll bring you the latest coming up.
Plus, a man who injured a family of 4 in Lincoln appeared in court after a weekend vehicle incident. We'll have more on that as well. And the path to the Democratic U.S. Senate nomination has become much clearer for former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop. And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have those stories and more coming up, including a special report from our friends over at the Hirundo Wildlife Refuge. We'll be hearing about some things going on around there. But first, a check of that forecast. Not a bad day ahead today. It looks like we'll see some more clouds than we have the last couple of days. Yeah, and yesterday turned out to be great. Oh, it was a beautiful day. Nice and breezy and sunny. No humidity, just really nice out there. Cloudy today, though. Clouds will be moving in, and then we'll have a little bit of rain as we head into the rest of the week. We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is up along the coast, and that will last until about Wednesday at around 6 p.m. We do have some active surf that will be on the way with an area low pressure that will be passing through that will also bring some showers and thunderstorms to our neck of the woods coming up. Let's check out the radar and satellite. So high pressure is moving away now. We will be under a mostly cloudy sky moving forward. Radar also showing a few returns coming up. Wouldn't be surprising to see some sprinkles or light rain showers further off towards the north, but overall we will be dry today under a mostly cloudy sky, again and windy as well with this area low pressure that will be on the way. So overall we will be dry today with that mostly cloudy sky, and again scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way later on tonight. Some of these packing up punch, gusty winds and hail not out of the question coming up. So your hourly forecast moving forward, the clouds for today, temperatures in the 70s, and the storms arrive tonight. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. We'll see you a little later on. Well, first this morning, a man with 3 prior operating under the influence convictions is back behind bars after allegedly driving into a young family during an event in Lincoln over the weekend. As our Alex Schley tells us, the Penobscot County community is now rallying around the victims as the suspect made his first court appearance.
Just before 3:30 Saturday afternoon, investigators say 57-year-old Carl Hartley drove onto the sidewalk during Lincoln's annual Loon Fest, striking 24-year-old Jasmine Drew and pinning her beneath his vehicle. Police say Hartley also hit Drew's 29-year-old boyfriend, a 5-year-old child, and a 3-month-old infant. They suffered non-life-threatening injuries. On Monday, Hartley appeared before a Penobscot County judge to face charges of aggravated operating under the influence and unlawful trafficking of scheduled drugs.
If not for the fact that a woman was pinned beneath the defendant's vehicle and an infant was almost run over, this would have been an ordinary OUI case, but it illustrates the fact that every OUI can end this way.
The judge also pointed out Hartley has an extensive criminal record which dates back to 1987.
By my count, this is also his 4th time in his life that he's been charged with OUI. At least the 4th time. There are 3 prior convictions for OUI that I'm aware of.
The judge set Hartley's bail at $10,000 cash or $30,000 as surety. While the criminal case moves forward, support for the Drew family continues to grow. A GoFundMe has raised more than $6,000 as of Monday night. Several local businesses have also pledged donations and set up fundraisers. For a full list of participating businesses, go to our website, foxbangor.com. In Penobscot County, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Meanwhile, an Ellsworth woman will serve 3 years in prison after pleading guilty to firearms charges. 36-year-old Carissa Beam was on probation for robbery when she was arrested in Trenton. The U.S. Attorney's Office says she had 2 handguns, which was a violation of her probation. Along with serving 3 years in prison, Beam will also have 3 years of supervised release.
Meanwhile, police in Rockland are attempting to find a missing man. They say they're trying to check on the well-being of 49-year-old Scott Clark. He's not wanted for any criminal activity. They just want to make sure that he's okay. Scott was last known to be driving a blue 1999 Chevy Tahoe with the license plate number 393FGZ. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is urged to contact the Knox Communications Center at 539-9132.
Well, a fire damaged a church in Washington County. Pembroke Fire Chief Jim Ramsdell says crews from several towns were called to the Dennisville Edmonds Congregational Church on King Street in Dennisville right around 7:30 on Monday morning. He says a passerby noticed the flames and called for help. Luckily, crews were able to put the fire out quickly, but it did melt some of the siding on the church, as you can see there. The church has been serving that community since 1834. The fire marshal's office is now investigating to determine what caused that fire.
Well, in other news, following the fatal shooting in Biddeford, Senator Angus King is leading dozens of his colleagues in calling for stronger accountability measures for ICE agents. In a letter to the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, 39 senators urged DHS to fulfill its commitments to deploy and expand the use of body cameras, strengthen officer identification requirements, and review enforcement protocol. The senators pointed out that the victims in Texas and in Maine were not the intended targets of ICE investigations, but ended up being killed. They wrote in a letter, quote, "We remain supportive of removing dangerous criminals from our communities, but this goal can and must be achieved without endangering these very communities in the process. By no stretch could either of the victims in Texas and Maine be categorized as the worst of the worst, making these tragic deaths even more egregious. The American people deserve clarity and accountability," end quote.
Well, meanwhile, the grieving family of the man shot and killed by ICE in Biddeford is now taking its fight to court. The attorney representing the family says they plan to file suit against the U.S. government. And as Brad Rogers reports, attorney Ben Gideon says the agent should have never been given a badge.
There's no way anybody could reasonably have thought that this shooter was appropriate to arm with a gun and a badge.
Ben Gideon accuses the federal government of intentionally hiring unqualified ICE agents.
What's really happening is they want to put thugs out on the street because part of their mission is to create fear.
We reached out to Immigration and Customs Enforcement today asking several questions. Does ICE consider allegations of domestic violence when vetting potential agents? Did the ICE agent who fired shots into a vehicle in Biddeford successfully complete a thorough background security check, drug test, and medical polygraph examination? And why is ICE still allowing agents to fire into vehicles? So far, we've not gotten any response. Homeland Security's own policy says deadly force shall not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing subject. The agency says deadly force is only authorized if there's a reasonable belief someone poses a significant threat of death or serious harm to others. Gideon says Johann Sebastian Duran Guerrero wasn't even the man ICE came to apprehend.
Before they shot him dead, nobody accused him of any crime. The government was working with him through the immigration system to process his application for citizenship. He was doing everything right. He was a good person of high character, and by contrast, the person our government hired to put out on the street, give a badge and a gun to, was a person of low character who should never have been given a badge and a gun.
Homeland Security first said Guerrero weaponized his car. They later said the ICE agent used deadly force because he feared for public safety. Gideon says all Guerrero did was pull out onto Pool Street to go to work.
Just the video that exists, I think, already demonstrates that their now concocted story about their rationale for shooting this person dead is false. What you can tell is not happening is anybody driving a vehicle at a high rate of speed toward anybody with a badge and a gun.
My soul is broken.
The victim's wife says her husband was a good man who did nothing wrong.
Now, my daughter asks for Papa, and I don't have the strength to tell her. Every night, she asks for him. She always slept next to him, and now she can't.
There's no way to explain to her that her father is never coming home.
Well, in other news this morning, a series of new labor laws will take effect next week. A statement from the Maine Department of Labor says together, the measures will expand workplace protections, clarify employer responsibilities, strengthen enforcement where appropriate, and invest in workforce development and workplace safety. The new laws include a requirement that employers engaging in electronic workplace surveillance must tell prospective employees during the hiring process and provide annual written notice to current employees. It also mandates a statewide study examining occupational gender segregation, including disparities in pay and workplace safety. The new laws will take effect on July 29th.
The number of candidates vying to replace Graham Plattner as the Democratic nominee for U.S. Senate thinned dramatically over the weekend after Troy Jackson secured strong support from community delegates. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
The path to the Democratic U.S. Senate nomination has become much clearer for former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, Dr. Nirav Shah, Maine Beer Company owner Dan Kleben, and Jordan Wood all announced on Sunday that they are ending their campaigns. This followed a commanding delegate selection weekend for the Troy Jackson campaign.
Once it became apparent that, that he was getting, all or almost all of these delegates in county after county, I wasn't surprised at all to see Bellows and then Shaw drop out. I mean, what were they going to do?
Political expert Mark Brewer says this has given Jackson a decisive advantage heading into the nominating convention.
The challenge now for Jackson turns to November, right? How can he put himself in the best position to defeat Susan Collins in November? And I think that's a tough question. Right?
Jackson's campaign announced Monday that it is turning its full focus toward defeating incumbent Senator Susan Collins.
He's becoming Graham Plattner 2.0, and I don't know if that's going to help him statewide in running for election.
The chairman of the Maine GOP says he is confident no challenger has the capacity to take Collins' seat.
We're focused on winning elections, and we've never been so unified as we are in this election as a party. It's incredible how we're doing.
If Troy Jackson is anything, he's a fighter.
Democratic political strategist David Farmer says the greatest hurdle ahead for Jackson will be the short time frame between now and November.
He has done something that, given the time constraints, might have seemed impossible. And I believe that is he's unified the Democratic Party for the United States Senate race.
In Augusta, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, the time now is 6:12. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Challenger Learning Center introduced their summer camps to some new drone technology.
We'll tell you all about it coming up, but first another check of that weather forecast. Today will be a mostly cloudy day. It will be windy with highs near 77 degrees. Tonight, rain and thunderstorms can be expected, with lows dropping down to the low 60s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with some scattered thunderstorms, highs near 81. We'll be right back.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Carpets looking tired, stained, or just plain dirty? It's time to call the pros. At CNR Carpet Cleaning, we use deep steam technology to remove dirt, odors, pet hair, and allergens fast. Fresh, clean carpets, healthier home. That's the CNR promise. Visit our Facebook page for a free estimate or call us today, 631-7380. Step into clean with CNR Carpet Cleaning.
Live from the Maine Lobster Festival in Rockland, it's the Lobster Crate Races. Watch fearless racers dash across floating lobster crates. Will they make it or take a spectacular splash? Who will stay on their feet? And who will take the plunge? Don't miss the Lobster Crate Races live from the Maine Lobster Festival, Sunday, August 2nd at 2 p.m. only on Fox 22.
The Bangor Education Center that specializes in NASA-inspired learning introduced new technology during summer camp.
Our Sam Miller reports that this is the next step in immersive, hands-on education.
As part of its Robot Plus Plus summer camp, the Challenger Learning Center of Maine introduced campers to new educational drones that will amplify hands-on learning in STEM education. The drone program explores the growing field of drone technology and its connection to space exploration, and campers learn the fundamentals of flight, engineering, and problem solving. The center held a time trial where campers flew drones through an obstacle course and documented their times by writing down the results and placing them on a graph. Center Executive Director Kristen Hibbard says she's been amazed by the attitudes of the kids and highlighted their efforts to step out of their comfort zone.
With a great attitude, if you're new to STEM, you could conquer anything. And then they have built and created amazing things. We just help give them the tools and opportunities to do those. And it's everything from they've built Mars habitats with whole systems to support life on the surface of Mars, to they've even built what we call Kane's Arcade. They've built a whole arcade from scratch in one day. Wow. And so it's just amazing fun things are happening here this summer.
Throughout the week, students will learn to code and program the drones to autonomously fly using built-in commands. On top of the drone, students are working in pairs and building complex robots using LEGO Education spike sets. Fifth grader Lauren Pelletier returned for her second year at the camp and described her favorite parts of coming back.
Just all the activities, because they're really fun, because we do like different activities and get to like learn about like outer space and engineering.
The drones will soon become part of additional after-school programs and other educational events throughout the year. In Bangor, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
What a fun event.
Yeah, I feel like they always have the coolest programs over there.
Yeah, they sure do.
Well, the time now is 6:16. After the break, the U.S. attacking Iran for yet another night after 3 American soldiers were killed over the weekend.
We'll have the latest coming up. Plus, we'll meet a couple who's turning chicken feed bags into reusable shopping bags. Really neat story.
It is.
We'll have the details straight ahead.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Webb's RV Center has a 4-acre lot with over 75 previously owned campers all on sale, plus another 4 acres of new RVs and motorhomes. Webb's RV will take anything in trade. You can buy a camper anywhere, but be sure to buy your next camper at your local neighbor. A website can't service your RV, but Webb's RV will. And they have the biggest service department in the state of Maine to help you enjoy your RV or motorhome.
So come on down, neighbor. The coffee pot's on and the pencil is sharp.
Mow, dig, haul, trench. The reliable Kubota BX Series subcompact tractor is highly capable. A smooth hydrostatic transmission makes for easy operation and versatile attachments that help you handle the job. The Kubota BX Series, rated #1 in durability and owner experience. Talk to your Kubota dealer to schedule a demo.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
A Maine couple is turning recycling into a full-time endeavor.
As Jody Hersey tells us, they have found a way to repurpose those heavy-duty plastic feed sacks into a multi-use product that just about all of us use on a daily basis.
In the middle of Jefferson, Maine, the creators of Blue Earth Bags are hard at work.
We're in the middle of nowhere, selling bags all over the country and some internationally.
This environmentally conscious couple was just looking for a way to keep chicken feed bags out of the landfill and came up with the idea to repurpose them into reusable shopping bags.
And we use them every day for groceries. I mean, anything you can imagine that you want to put in the bag.
Family and friends convinced the Fens that their product was worth selling. So 4 years ago, they started offering their handmade products online, and now they sell out faster than their hands can sew them.
we sell more in California and Texas than any other state.
And I'm very pleased at the popularity because it's important that this stuff stay out of the trash. It really is, because it just piles up, and they can't really recycle it. This material does not get recycled. And so this is one way that it can be reused.
The Fens source their material from local animal owners that drop off used feed bags and collection bins at the transfer station in Nobleboro and the local feed store in the town of Washington.
We bring them home, wash them, and then cut them up, and then sew them. They're very thick, durable. They last a long time. I've had some that we've used probably for 5 years that are still going strong.
To learn more, log on to blueearthbags.com. In Jefferson, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
What a great idea.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Well, the time now is 6:20. Let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until Wednesday at around 6 p.m. We will be watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame with an area low pressure that will be on the way. For now, we're not too bad just yet at around 2 to 3 feet according to the buoys. This will be around the time with the area low pressure that will be moving in. That's when the surf will be getting active. Farther out towards sea, we're not too bad just yet either. 3 to 4 foot wave heights further out towards sea. But on land, though, we do have clouds moving in, high pressure moving away. A few returns further off towards the north as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we are seeing a few sprinkles or light rain showers in the northern parts of the state. But this is the leading edge of that area low pressure that is tracking off towards the east. And again, later on tonight, we will have rain showers and thunderstorms, and some of those storms may pack a punch as well, with heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and some hail as well. So here's what we got for today: a mostly cloudy sky, and yes, gusty winds will be a thing as well. And then later on tonight, that's when the showers and storms move in. Again, some locally heavy downpours will be a thing, along with, again, those gusty winds and some hail being a possibility. As we head towards your Wednesday, everything breaks up. Still a few showers and storms not out of the question, especially later on. It won't be anything too crazy, but something that we'll need to monitor nonetheless. So here's a threat coming up later on tonight in the parts of early Wednesday. Just a marginal threat, hence the mention of gusty winds and hail. So here's what we got. So again, with the dew points, those will be on the increase coming up later on today in the parts of Wednesday. Some dew points in the 60s and 70s before we're all finished up. So your forecast coming up for today, mostly cloudy and windy. Highs in the upper 70s, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. Later on tonight, lower 60s, showers and thunderstorms. Also windy, some fog out there too, and that southeast wind at about 30 miles per hour. Then once we head towards tomorrow, low 80s, mostly cloudy, some thunderstorms out there too, and that south wind at about 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Thursday. A partly cloudy sky with highs in the mid 70s. And then for your Friday, will be mostly sunny with highs in the lower 80s. And then for your Saturday, mostly sunny, highs in the mid 80s.
Honey, where's the countertop?
I sent it out to the granite shop this morning to be replaced.
Wow!
The quickest turnaround in the business, the Granite Shop in Sedgwick.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard Parks.
Happy Endings in downtown Bangor. This is where a delicious dinner meets a great drink. From the first bite to the last, Happy Endings serves the kind of meal you don't rush. And behind the bar, smooth, crisp drinks made just right. Perfect for date night, a night out, or your new favorite stop downtown. Happy Endings, 32 Main Street, Bangor. Open 7 days a week. Follow us on Facebook for specials and events.
This gonna be crazy. Everybody see yeah. Hear that? That's money. I love the sound of this game. Everybody see yeah. Hear that? That's money. I love the sound of this game.
Celebrity Family Feud, Thursday on ABC.
Tree branches were cut by the defendants and left on your property. You were concerned that they were going to call the police, so your response was to call the police yourself?
Hot Bench.
Tuesday at 3 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
President Trump is looking for revenge. The U.S. attacking Iran for another night after 3 American soldiers were killed over the weekend. Amid this tension, gas has hit $4 a gallon again. ABC's Karen Waz in Washington with the details.
The U.S. attacking Iran for the 10th straight night. President Trump vowing to retaliate after 3 American soldiers were killed over the weekend. 2 of them died after Iran attacked a U.S. base in Jordan. 19-year-old Private Isabella Gonzalez and 25-year-old First Lieutenant Tyler Feehan. Human remains found are likely those of a 3rd missing service member, still unidentified. According to the Pentagon, nearly 100 soldiers have been injured since the war in Iran began. Middle East expert Jason Campbell says the U.S. and Iran are in a cycle of escalation.
When service members are killed, you do have some political pressure to respond. The question is, at some point, one of the sides needs to find some way to de-escalate.
Overnight, Iran hit a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz, forcing its crew to abandon the ship. Now, the Houthis in Yemen, a militant group backed by Iran, are threatening to block Saudi ships from passing through the Red Sea.
It's hard to know how long these escalations could last, but very much gasoline and diesel prices are connected to developments between the U.S. and Iran and Russia and Ukraine.
And while traffic is still stalled in the Strait of Hormuz, average gas prices here at home are back up to $4 a gallon, leaving some on financially thin ice.
I have so many appointments, medical visits where I need my car. I just have to spend more money and basically max out my credit cards.
Even though the U.S. and Iran continue fighting, diplomacy is still on the table. Iran's interior minister, who's been a key mediator, has traveled to Pakistan for peace talks. Karen Hua, ABC News, Washington.
Meanwhile, the U.S. government is entering a legal battle with a prestigious education institution for allegedly discriminating against American students. The Department of Justice announced on Monday it's investigating if Harvard University is allowing Chinese donors to create scholarships that exclude American students. The DOJ says that Harvard appears to be providing financial aid to international students, quote, to the potential detriment of students of other national origins. The agency saying this could amount to illegal discrimination. Harvard accepts foreign funding through donations and provides need-based scholarships to international students on the same basis as U.S. students. Federal grants are reserved for American students, while Harvard says it has its own scholarship funding available for foreign students. Harvard said it does not, quote, unlawfully discriminate on the basis of race, ethnicity, or national origin in allocating financial aid. The DOJ says that it has, quote, not reached any conclusions with the investigation.
Well, now to the mystery surrounding the death of an 18-year-old college football player named Nolan Wells and a new step to get answers. Sophie Flay with that story.
A $100,000 reward is now being offered for answers after the mysterious death of Mississippi teenager Nolan Wells. His mother speaking at the 18-year-old's funeral yesterday.
We will miss everything about him, from his quiet nature to the corny jokes. His gentle smile, a piece of our hearts will always be missing.
Wells was last seen alive on a July 4th boat trip with friends to an island off the Mississippi coast. They returned without him, saying he stayed behind after meeting a girl. His body was found nearby 2 days later. His father yesterday fighting back tears, remembering the college wide receiver who dreamed of one day playing in the NFL.
I nicknamed you Mr. Cool Hands because it seemed like you was catching a touchdown every game.
Delivering the eulogy, the Reverend Al Sharpton announcing a $50,000 reward for information leading to an arrest and conviction.
He was not on that island by himself. Somebody saw something and knows something.
Then a text from actor Tyler Perry matching that reward, bringing it to $100,000. Investigators say they believe Wells drowned and say they do not suspect foul play. But an official cause of death has not been released. The sheriff says more than 60 witnesses have now been interviewed, and Wells's phone is being analyzed.
Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, Harunda Wildlife Refuge made a video that explains their game cameras right there on their property.
We'll take you on a little visit out there, a little safari,
Yeah, safari.
That and more coming up.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisperer winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Still getting glitched by cable internet? Enough already. Fidium is 100% fiber internet. Ultra reliable, lightning fast. So everything you do online works exactly like it should.
Zach, go to bed.
Fiber up to Fidium. Get plans starting at only $30 a month at fidiumfiber.com.
It's America's 250th birthday. The Maine Semi-Quincentennial Commission invites you to connect Maine's stories to America's legacy, sharing Maine's contributions to the nation's story, and exploring Maine's role in America's future. From potlucks to parades and more, you'll find a full list of many exciting America 250 events on our page on the maine.gov/SOS website. Happy birthday, America! Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Office of the Secretary of State of Maine.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. This is also National Junk Food Day.
This day invites us to indulge in our favorite treats. It gives us a guilt-free pass to enjoy delicious snacks, fast food, and desserts without reservation. So go ahead and enjoy your preferred comfort foods and savor every delicious bite.
Do you have a go-to junk food kind of selection? I'm kind of a candy guy. I like sweets in general.
I like salty, so like chips and salsa, or just pretzels and stuff like that. I love.
Well, today you can eat as much of it as you want.
We're having our company barbecue, so I might have to do that.
We'll have to indulge today.
Yes.
All right, time for some history. It was on this date back in 1853, the New York State Legislature voted to set aside hundreds of acres of land in Manhattan. That parcel was later transformed into Central Park. In 1861, during the Civil War, the Confederate Army scored a victory during the Battle of Bull Run at Manassas, Virginia. And in 1925, the so-called monkey trial ended in Tennessee when John T. Scopes was found guilty of violating state law. His crime, teaching Darwin's theory of evolution. His conviction was later overturned and in what was called the trial of the century at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
In 1972, comedian George Carlin was arrested for his infamous 7 dirty words routine. The charges were later dropped, but the issue of his indecent speech was later brought up in a complaint that was considered by the Supreme Court.
You just learned about his 7
did.
dirty words this morning.
You showed me the video of it. It was funny.
We can't show it on TV.
We cannot.
We won't, but what a funny guy he was.
In 2007, the final Harry Potter book was released called Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And in 2011, the 30-year-old space shuttle program came to an end as the shuttle Atlantis touched down in Florida. The missions came to an end after the 135th flight to deliver parts to the International Space Station. Hundreds flocked to Kennedy Space Center to witness the end of an era.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Josh Hartnett, who is 48 today. Cartoonist Gary Trudeau, who brought us the Doonesbury comic strip, is 78. And comedian John Lovitz is 69 years old today. Happy birthday to them and to you also, if your birthday is today.
Let's turn things right back over to meteorologist Evan Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Tuesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is up along the coast, and that will last until about Wednesday at around 6 p.m. We do have some active surf that will be on the way with an area low pressure that will be passing through that will also bring some showers and thunderstorms to our neck of the woods coming up. Let's check out the radar and satellite. So high pressure is moving away now. We will be under a mostly cloudy sky moving forward. Radar also showing a few returns coming up. Wouldn't be surprising to see some sprinkles or light rain showers further off towards the north, but overall we will be dry today under a mostly cloudy sky, again and windy as well with this area low pressure that will be on the way. So overall we will be dry today with that mostly cloudy sky, and again scattered showers and thunderstorms on the way later on tonight. Some of these packing up punch, gusty winds and hail not out of the question coming up. So your hourly forecast moving forward, the clouds for today, temperatures in the 70s, and the storms arrive tonight. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
And we'll hear from our friends up at Hirundo.
Yes.
Don't go away.
If you've been injured in a motorcycle wreck, call 855 Iron Law today. Iron Horse Motorcycle Lawyers. We protect our own.
Are you experiencing foot pain? Comfort Shoes & More has a team of experts trained in pet orthics to help you find relief. They offer tailored fittings, shoe modifications, customized orthotics, and much more for the ordinary or for the hard-to-fit foot, with fashionable and functional footwear from today's top brands: Hoka, Brooks, Keen, Teva, Taos, Ufus, and Birkenstocks. From running to walking, casual or dress, they have it all. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Susan Collins broke her promise to protect Roe v. Wade. When Donald Trump called, she cast the deciding vote for his Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe v. Wade. And she voted to put more than 100 Trump judges on the bench. States are banning abortion without exceptions, and women are dying. But Susan Collins says,
I do not regret that vote.
Tell Susan Collins to stop breaking her word. Stop voting for Trump's anti-choice judges.
Welcome back in, folks. The 2026 North American World Cup has come and it has gone. It finished with a bang on Sunday. Caroline Elliott has more.
Spain's soccer team returning home Monday after winning its second World Cup title ever.
Thousands of fans welcomed the players back as they held a victory parade through Madrid.
I'm just next level ecstatic about the win.
Spain with superiority and everything. They was control the whole time.
And with a goal in extra time, Spain defeated Argentina in front of a star-studded crowd Sunday afternoon. Spain's women are also reigning champions, making the country the first to hold both trophies at the same time.
I feel super happy and having the opportunity to enjoy this experience with the family is amazing.
Argentina's Messi was emotional after the loss, soaking in what many believe could be his final World Cup match. He holds the record for the most appearances, having played 34 matches across a historic 6 tournaments.
One thing you cannot deny, whenever Messi touched the ball, you were stressing.
Throughout the tournament, Messi and soccer's top stars played in front of a record 6.8 million people. And fans say they hope it's a sign the sport will only continue to grow.
More players with notoriety coming into the States, and that's bringing a lot of attention to the game that wasn't here before.
Certainly was a cultural moment, this World Cup. It's a summer I will certainly never forget. The Boston Red Sox went into the All-Star break on a hot streak, and they picked up right where they left off over the weekend against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Sox swept the Rays, moving them to 13 straight wins, which marks the second-best winning streak in franchise history, tying the 1948 team. It was the Bats that came alive out of the break, scoring 28 runs in that series, which is just 1 run shy of tying their current season series high. Here was interim manager Chad Tracy after the game on being 2 games away from the all-time streak and what worked for their team this series.
It's really cool, and one game at a time. Go to the next game. There's a lot of differences. Not much in the pitching. The pitching's been great, but we have put some things together offensively. We've found different ways to score runs. We're taking much better at bats. We're grinding at bats, having longer at bats. We're taking more walks. We're finding ways to score runs without hitting a ball out of the infield, and we're finding a way to hit the ball over the fence to score runs. So
let's stay at Fenway and check in with the Sox as they look to make it 14 in a row. 3rd inning, Red Sox lead 2-1. Wilson Contreras lines one to Gunnar Henderson, who can't make the catch. 1-run score, Sox up 3-1. 5th inning, same score. Encarnacion Strand makes Peyton Tolley. He takes Peyton Tolley deep over the Green Monster for a solo home run, his first of the year. Orioles trail 3-2. Bottom of the 6th, runner on second. Wilson Contreras hits one deep off the wall for a double. Off of Shane Baz. 1-run score. Sox tied up at 4. 7th inning, Contreras is fired up there. Sox down 5-4. Cedane Rafaela, he's going to find a hole. Pasino Cano for a single. 1-run scores. The Red Sox tie it at 5. 8th inning, still tied at 5. Caleb Durbin, who has come alive here this season, he hits a solo home run off Tyler Wells, his 10th of the year. Red Sox take a 6-5 lead. Fenway, and the Sox are fired up. 9th inning. Same score, Aroldis Chapman in to close. Tyler O'Neill takes Chi Chang, he hits it right to Chi Chang, who makes the leaping catch. Chapman gets his 22nd save of the year. Red Sox win 6-5, extending that streak to 14. We'll bring it back local and head to Orono, where there is a couple big pieces of news coming out of Alphon Arena. First being the women's hockey team. They found their new head coach, Alex Gittins, will become the 8th head coach in program history, coming from an assistant role at Colgate. Gittins has also served as an assistant in Orono, so he is familiar with Black Bear country. In a statement given by athletic director Jude Killey, Gittins' passion and enthusiasm for the program was referenced for a reason for the hire. We will stay in Orono. Maine hockey fans have a reason to mark a new trip on their calendar. On Monday, the Maine hockey team announced they'll play Cornell inside the famous Madison Square Garden down in New York City on Saturday, November 28th in the Frozen Apple. Frozen Apple is a biannual event where Cornell hosts a team in MSG. In 2024 was Quinnipiac. It will be the Black Bears' turn in 2026, and how lucky are those Maine boys getting to play in one of the most storied arenas in the world. Maine's annual National Football Foundation college kickoff teed off earlier on Monday at Doongrass Country Club down in Old Orchard Beach. Before it was time to hit the links, each Maine college football head coach spoke on behalf of their respective programs. That includes the University of Maine's Jordan Stevens, whose young Black Bear team is hoping to build off of last year's fantastic run, which included a mid-season 6-game winning streak.
I think the thing that gives us the most excitement is just keeping some core nucleus of guys there, some really great players and leaders that we were able to keep on our roster, and then add a really strong group of incoming freshmen and transfers that I think our staff did a tremendous job of identifying high character guys that are going to be great fits at Maine.
Believe it or not, the Black Bears report to preseason camp on July 27th. For now, that's all the time we have for sports. Right back after the break.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Located on Wilson Street in Brewer, Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, where you'll find only the best sushi, Asian favorites, and specialty crafted cocktails that will satisfy anyone. Try tatami seating for an immersive experience. Yoshi Japanese Restaurant, bringing delicious traditions to you.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
The right dock should fit your shoreline and make life on the water easier, more rewarding, and more fun. When you choose Shoremaster from Hammond Lumber Company, you get all that, along with unmatched strength, versatility, and style. Shoremaster's tool-free Infinity Track system makes adding accessories a breeze. Hammond also offers polydock floating docks, perfect for deep or fluctuating waters. Transform your waterfront into your personal paradise with a Shoremaster Infinity Dock system or floating polydock system from Hammond Lumber Company.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
Welcome back, everyone. Our friends at Hirundo Wildlife Refuge have put together a short little video that explains how their trail cameras work right on their property. Let's take a look.
Hello everyone, my name is Brianna Guy. I'm the program director for Hirundo Wildlife Refuge, and I'm super excited to have another opportunity to share some cool things about the refuge and what's been going on at the refuge. Hirundo is 2,400 acres of land, and within that there are tons of habitats for wildlife, meadows, forest, pond, stream, tons of stuff. So because of that, as you can imagine, we have a ton of wildlife. If you come here for a hike or go on a paddle on Pushaw Stream, you know what I'm talking about, because even during the day when there are people here, there's a ton of wildlife. I frequently see beavers, muskrat, mink, squirrels, loons, tons of stuff during the day. However, there's lots of things that we still don't see during the day. For one, a lot of animals are nocturnal, or what we call crepuscular, which means they're awake around sunrise and sunset. So we like to set up game cameras to see what we can see during the hours that people are not here. I thought I'd show you a little bit about how we actually set these up. Here is an example of one of our game cameras. This one is attached to a tree, which is what most people typically do when they set up trail cameras. You set a little SD card in there, make sure the batteries are all set, turn it on, and it's good to go. There are a couple of things to consider when we are deciding on where to put our trail cameras. For one, if we're trying to look for wildlife, we try to keep them a little bit off trail, actually, so we're not just sifting through a bunch of photos of people hiking. Another way we decide where to put up our cameras is by following the tracks and signs that we see along the trails. So things like footprints, scat, or other signs like our beaver chew right here. This is not as fresh right now, but a couple of weeks ago this was quite fresh, so we know that this is a good spot to set it up looking for the beavers. The way that we choose where to set up our cameras is just by putting them where we know that there's wildlife activity. Because staff are here very frequently, we see them, we see the wildlife, where they're moving. Right here, this sign has been put up near the road at Gate 1 because we frequently have a young porcupine that crosses the road back and forth. So just because we know where stuff is, we are able to choose where to put our game cameras. Like I said, we get some really cool footage, so I'd love to finish this out by sharing some with you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed those clips. If you want to see more clips like that, you can check us out on our socials. We post a lot of clips like that to our YouTube. We'd also love it if you came out to the refuge yourself to see the nature and the wildlife. We're right in Old Town, and we're open sunrise to sunset. You're welcome to join a guided program or just come out and use the trails for yourself.
What an amazing place. I remember one afternoon I spent up there. I took a paddle from Hirundo down through the Stillwater River through there, and they'll rent out canoes and kayaks and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so
But I
neat.
saw so many animals and eagles and beavers.
Yeah, great place to go to spot wildlife for sure.
And it's so close to Bangor. You can get away
It
from here in 15 minutes. You're out in the wilderness. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Tick and Mosquito Guard. We stop ticks and mosquitoes. Now serving Washington, Hancock, and Penobscot counties. We are pet safe and have eco-friendly options available. Call today for a free quote, 207-263-3421. Alrighty, here we go. We have a small craft advisory that is posted until Wednesday at around 6 p.m. We will be watching for some active surf that will be occurring until about that time frame with an area low pressure that will be on the way. For now, we're not too bad just yet at around 2 to 3 feet according to the buoys. This will be around the time with the area low pressure that will be moving in. That's when the surf will be getting active. Farther out towards sea, we're not too bad just yet either. 3 to 4 foot wave heights further out towards sea. But on land, though, we do have clouds moving in, high pressure moving away. A few returns further off towards the north as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if we are seeing a few sprinkles or light rain showers in the northern parts of the state. But this is the leading edge of that area low pressure that is tracking off towards the east. And again, later on tonight, we will have rain showers and thunderstorms, and some of those storms may pack a punch as well with heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and some hail as well. So here's what we got for today: a mostly cloudy sky, and yes, gusty winds will be a thing as well. And then later on tonight, that's when the showers and storms move in. Again, some locally heavy downpours will be a thing, along with, again, those gusty winds and some hail being a possibility. As we head towards your Wednesday, everything breaks up. Still a few showers and storms not out of the question, especially later on. It won't be anything too crazy, but something that we'll need to monitor nonetheless. So here's a threat coming up later on tonight in the parts of early Wednesday. Just a marginal threat, hence the mention of gusty winds and hail. So here's what we got. So again, with the dew points, those will be on the increase coming up later on today in the parts of Wednesday. Some dew points in the 60s and 70s before we're all finished up. So your forecast coming up for today, mostly cloudy and windy. Highs in the upper 70s, and that south wind getting up to about 30 miles per hour. Later on tonight, lower 60s, showers and thunderstorms. Also windy, some fog out there too, and that southeast wind at about 30 miles per hour. Then once we head towards tomorrow, low 80s, mostly cloudy, some thunderstorms out there too, and that south wind at about 25 miles per hour. Let's check out your extended forecast for your Thursday. A partly cloudy sky with highs in the mid 70s. And then for your Friday, will be mostly sunny with highs in the lower 80s. And then for your Saturday, mostly sunny, highs in the mid 80s.
Invest in your nest with the County Federal Credit Union. Your home has grown in value season after season. With the county's 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, you can borrow up to your credit limit over 10 years with interest-only payments over those 10 years, 10-10. And then you can stop and smell the roses, soak up the sun, and invest in your nest. The 10-10 Home Equity Line of Credit, the County Federal Credit Union, countyfcu.org.
When you work in disaster services, the phone rings at all hours.
Penobscot Cleaning, can I help you? People appreciate hearing a real voice on the other end. Since 1976, that personal touch has set us apart. When disaster strikes, you just want your life back to normal. You want a reputable company, someone you can trust. We take care of things and give you peace of mind. I'm Jason Sear, owner of Penobscot Cleaning Services. 24/7, we're here for you.
When I was 29, I was diagnosed with cancer. And I think part of research and advocating for more money for cancer research allows survivors to have more time. Senator Collins supports and advocates for more funding for cancer research so that people can have better treatments, they can have better outcomes, and therefore they can live better lives as cancer survivors. Thank you, Senator Collins. Continue fighting for our families.
Millionaire is back with famous friends playing for charity.
Are you gonna be mad if I'm wrong?
No, the charity's mine. And someone is bound to become a meme.
Don't take my word for it. The Emmy-winning Who Wants to Be a Millionaire premieres Wednesday on ABC.
Next Jeopardy! After defeating a 12-game champ, this newcomer is cooking. Now,
hit the sauce.
Who's got the recipe for success?
Okay, a big wager.
Next Jeopardy! Only on ABC7.
A rare double tornado is caught on camera in western Sweden. Video shows two funnels of air spinning right next to each other. The person who filmed the video says at around 9:30 in the morning, she looked out of her window and saw the surreal and frightening double tornadoes. The tornadoes later merged into one large funnel, and the storm took around 15 minutes to pass since it was first spotted. Heavy rain and local flooding caused minor damage in Sweden on Saturday, but no major damage or injuries are reported at this time. That's good news. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
It is.
Well, meanwhile, a heartfelt reunion happened in California after a lost dog reunited with its family after the 4th of July weekend. The Tulare County Sheriff's Office shared a video of the moments the family and their dog got back together. Officials say Fig ran from her home after being frightened by fireworks and gunfire. Her family looked for her for nearly 10 days without any success. And that's when they decided to file a missing dog report with police. Thankfully, in less than a day, they were able to find Fig and was reunited with her family.
That's awesome.
I love those.
I do too. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Thanks for being there, everyone. We hope you have a wonderful day.
For the best selection in classic and contemporary furnishings, stop by Richard Parks Furniture on High Street in Ellsworth. Handcrafted New England-made bedrooms and dining rooms, imported Scandinavian recliners and upholstery, more than 40 lines of furniture for the home and patio. Richard Parks Furniture is your #1 stop for quality, functionality, and well-designed furniture at affordable prices. Richard Parks Furniture.
Discover Richard Parks.
132 High Street in Ellsworth.
Discover Richard Parks.
ABC7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains Fox 22.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. Breaking overnight, on the move. 85 million in the Northeast on alert for destructive storms and flash flood threats after twisters spotted in the Midwest. And this morning, Tropical Storm Bertha taking aim at the Gulf Coast. Now, where and when it could make landfall, and why officials are warning beachgoers to stay out.
Also, a man who injured a family of 4 in Lincoln appeared in court for the first time after a weekend vehicle incident. We'll have the details on that as well.
And the path to the Democratic U.S. Senate nomination has become much clearer for former Maine Senate President Troy Jackson. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us this morning. We hope your morning's going well. It's off to a good start weather-wise. It looks like we will see some more clouds moving in, though, as the day rolls along. And then some rain. It's going to cool things off for a couple of days.
Yeah.
We could use it.
We could. We've had some decent days recently.